the mountain. Through the years when you're gathering the cows in the fall, there's something magical about being a horseback and being up there. And you can't put a price tag on all of that. This whole land ownership thing, it's a difficult one for me. We're very blessed to have this piece of land, but we're caretakers of it. How could you justify abusing this land in any way? I'm A.G. Smith. I'm the 4th generation on this place. So that would make my daughter 5th, and those little grandsons running around are the 6th generation. My daughter absolutely loves this place. Being 10 years old and being a cow camp and just trying to learn everything she could learn from those cowboys.
I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn what every draw was called, kind of everything. I'm Mackenzie Molesby, and I am the 5th generation here at Cottonwood Ranch. Dad started it, so it's been kind of rewarding to come in and continue on what Dad started on the range management, but to be able to apply that to the cow side. I don't know if I don't think I'd ever go back. Sometimes it'd be nice as far as labor-wise.
Hey Pat, I was thinking how neat it was that you're standing here with me after 47 years. It's been 47 years since I first met you. I was just a college student.
Yes.
And you were training us, teaching us how to measure streams and how to study and learn about streams.
That's a long time back, Carol. I'm Pat Coffin, a retired fisheries biologist, and I worked for 54 years, mostly on native trout. Up here working on hummingbirds. Sorry, I got distracted by hummingbirds. Anyhow, sorry about that. I probably started having an interest in native trout species in the early 70s. Then in 1975, I think, the Forest Service introduced me to a stream survey program called General Aquatics Wildlife Systems, or we called it JAWS, G-A-W-S. I was so impressed with that system that I thought, well, we'll work with the Forest Service and the Bureau of Land Management and start doing stream surveys on all our streams.
It was such an important survey for so many reasons, and one of the main reasons was it was not only an inventory of what was out there, but the condition of the streams.
They were terrible at that time.
They were terrible.
And it set a baseline, showed how bad they were.
There was just shelves and shelves of old pictures of degraded streams. They all looked terrible, all over northern Nevada, all over northeastern Elko County.
In those days, the practice was to turn the cows out and not worry about them, and they'd come and focus on the green area along the edge of the stream. So by the end of the summer, there wasn't anything there.
If we don't have the movement of animals, then they tend to hang out in riparian areas and graze the same favorite plants over and over and over again, and things fall apart.
I was beginning to feel like maybe we were in a business that was harming the environment. That was the impetus to start changing and reaching out for answers.
Desertification is a fancy word for land that is turning to desert, and this happens only when we create too much bare ground. There's no other cause. And I intend to focus on most of the world's land that is turning to desert. But I have for you a very simple message that offers more hope than you can imagine.
In 1995, Alan Savory presented at the Cowboy Poetry Gathering.
So Alan Savory is a wildlife biologist from Africa. He believed that the problem was too high a stalking rate of elephants, and they reduced the herd by like 40,000. Later, he learned that that wasn't the problem. The problem was that the animals weren't moving the way they needed to move. He realized that that applied to livestock grazing as well. When you move the animals and when you create the herd effect, wonderful things happen for wildlife habitat.
Now, all of a sudden, livestock can be a tool. The potential is incredible.
AG invited anybody that wanted to come up to the ranch, and we'd talk about this process, the holistic management.
And so Cottonwood started a team in 1995 that we participated in.
The Cottonwood holistic resource management grew into the shoe sole because neighbors wanted to be part of it.
We found out we all had the same vision for what we wanted out on the landscape.
We wanted the habitat to look good. We wanted fish in the streams. We joined the teams because all of the agencies, all the state and federal land management and wildlife management agencies were involved.
The BLM and the Forest Service went out on a limb to make this happen. They've got to have flexibility to move these cattle when they need to be moved, and they don't have near enough numbers. You've got to triple their numbers in order to make this work. That was such an eye-opener for me, because I truly didn't think that was possible. I didn't realize what a dramatic interaction that is between the grazing animal and the land.
We're going to have a lot more cows out here. That sort of goes against everything I've ever been fighting for the last 40 years. But I felt it was important enough to try something different that I accepted what we were trying to do here.
It's springtime, it's fast growing. You turn the animals out and they come through and they graze a plant. The plant regrows. When they come across and they graze it that first time, it doesn't do any harm to the plant. In fact, it's sort of like going to the gym. Some of the roots die and things, but it strengthens that plant. That plant will actually get stronger. But if you come back and graze that regrowth that second time, now you're starting to weaken the plant. And if you keep doing that, you will eventually kill the plant.
The 4-inch cube of topsoil, something about that size, had over a mile of roots and rhizomes that can hold the soil and make the soil, building the sponge to hold the water, also keep water on the land longer, which allows the willows to expand out. And when we get more sponge, we can grow even more of those right plants in the right places so that this can just be a sustainable result.
A cow doesn't know who the landlord is, but they need to be somewhere 12 months out of the year.
Most of our ranches in the West are a little bit of private land, a lot of BLM land, and a lot of Forest Service land. This ranch, it's all three.
Being able to get all of these different land managers on board with a grazing system where all of these different partners can work together to accomplish, overall objectives is really important to be able to manage, the majority of public land on the West.
The decision and the way the project started was to handle all of the lands together, that we would move through the forest, the BLM, and the private, managing them as a whole.
It was completely outside the normal planning process for BLM in particular, and the Forest Service, doing things different outside the written plan that they always had to have. Within 2 years, we started seeing changes in vegetation along the stream bank. By the third year, it was apparent big things were happening.
They were able to revive the cycle that was broken. Then the beavers came back in once it had the vegetation.
By having the beavers in place, we are dramatically accelerating our growth of riparian functions, our water storage.
The stockpiled water within the system, the willows that have come in, the riparian areas are growing. They're more like meadow areas now. It just seems like every year things are constantly changing for the better.
In all these old pictures, we were so focused on looking right at the water and right close to the stream bank because we thought the story would unfold there. What really happened was such a bigger story. It was a landscape story.
I can't hardly believe what I'm seeing up here. It's a completely different world than what I started with, 25 years ago?
I would have never dreamed that we could be where we are at now when we started this.
They just run this whole ridge line, hits that road, and everything on this side of that road is where the cows should be.
With conventional fence, post and wire fence, even temporary electric, there's quite a bit of effort involved in getting that in place.
You have this stationary fence. On any given year, if you could just move that fence, it would give you unlimited management strategies.
A lot of people are familiar with these fenceless fence systems that they use for dogs. Virtual fencing uses GPS technologies. The user can draw boundaries on a virtual map that become the fence line.
The goal is to eliminate the miles and miles of equipment and to start utilizing the electric fence collars in a way that's more natural to graze an environment. It's worth managing the way we do because nothing makes you happier than go out and to see fat cows and big calves out on the ground in conditions that you've been instrumental in changing with those livestock. It's pretty powerful to have both good ground and good cows.
You can see how the sagebrush has died out over there and it's all become meadow. That was all tall sagebrush, this tall when we started this. It's just really, really changing, and it's really interesting to watch it.
It feels like this restoration of what maybe was back in time that's been a surprise. It's really something larger than any one of us individually. It has a larger purpose.
About every time I come up here, you can almost just feel the collaboration. I mean, it just kind of permeates everything.
Look what we've done. Look at this.
I think it's 72 years that I've been here, since 1952, whatever that comes to, so. Well, come on in.
Right before Mom had moved in, there was a wall there, just a stick wall behind you there, and they put a bathroom in. She goes, at least I had a bathroom with running water when she got here.
I've got some photos here that I'm thinking might make a good, this one would probably make a good painting, I think. This was the cabin, and as I say, it's a lot green, more color here than it was. It was all sagebrush. And this is the windmill. These trees were not that big. They were just a couple of little twigs in the creek.